You or someone you sit next to in class will play Russian roulette at some point in their life. It won't be with a gun, but it is just as deadly. You'll willingly participate, except you won't be told the consequences, and you won't know until it's too late. Most Millis High School students will have experimented with drugs and alcohol by the time they graduate. That's an undeniable fact. For most, that means drinking or smoking. This presentation is not about the dangers of drugs or the risks of addiction. That is not what my senior project is about. You know the risks you're taking. You might overdo it, but you're learning your limits. Your friends look out for you, it's no big deal. And you never drive when you're drunk or high. But things have changed. Today, it's pretty easy to get just about any drug you want as long as you have a phone. Maybe you would only buy from a friend, or at least someone you know, or someone that someone you know knows. You think that makes things pretty safe. It's not like you're buying from a real drug dealer. Or maybe you did contact a dealer, but you heard he's safe. Other kids use him. Clearly, they trust him. But there's a huge risk that didn't exist before that you may not know about: fentanyl poisoning. You are probably now picturing strung out drug addicts, using things you'd never touch. You're thinking, what could that possibly have to do with me? I've only looked into prescription medications like Adderall, Xanax, or Percocet. You're thinking, I'm not into hardcore drugs. I only do them on the weekends with my friends to have fun or take the edge off. Sometimes I want to stay up late to study for an exam. I did my research, and I know what the drug should look like. Wait, remember how I started talking about Russian roulette? What if I told you nearly every pill bought without a prescription outside of a pharmacy is fake? Not only are they counterfeit, many are laced with fentanyl. It is estimated that at least 40% of illicitly manufactured pills contain a lethal dose of fentanyl, and they look identical to the real ones. Fentanyl is impossible to detect by looking, smelling, or tasting. Pharmacists can't even tell without testing. Even the packaging can look the same. And a lethal dose is smaller than you may think.
The drug landscape has changed. Illegal fentanyl has made its way into the drug supply. And it's a danger you might not see coming. A synthetic opioid up to 50 times stronger than heroin, up to 100 times stronger than morphine. It only takes the tiniest amount to cause a fatal overdose. A fraction of a raindrop, or 3 grains of salt. Your drugs don't come with an ingredients list. Although fentanyl is being mixed into almost every kind of drug, you wouldn't be able to see it, or smell it, or taste it. Fentanyl is one of the most common drugs involved in overdose deaths. Know the dangers. Learn the facts about fentanyl and ways to protect yourself at cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
But why are street drugs being laced with fentanyl? Simple answer: money. Fentanyl is being mass-produced and distributed into street drugs because it is so cheap, extremely potent, and very addictive. Drug dealers are banking on creating a large base of repeat customers. Those pills you are buying are not created in a lab by scientists. The process is far from an exact science. Maybe only a small percentage of one batch are lethal pills. Or maybe they all are. They don't know or care. Trace fentanyl has even been found in marijuana, which is likely due to unintentional cross-contamination. Illegal THC extraction labs are sometimes run alongside fentanyl-laced pill press operations. The fact that many can die is not a concern of the dealers. Often, the local dealer isn't aware that the drugs they have are laced. When they insist that their drugs are legitimate, they may actually believe that. Over 150 people die every day from unintended overdoses related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Many of them never knew they ingested fentanyl. 77% of all teenage overdose deaths in 2021 involved fentanyl. It happened to a friend I worked with at summer camp. She wasn't a regular drug user, and she was 15 when she died from fentanyl poisoning. It is happening all across the country. It is important for you to understand that you could be at risk, and this isn't something that only happens in big cities or to heavy drug users. The chemicals used to manufacture street drugs are mainly produced in China. Those ingredients are then processed and manufactured into synthetic opioids by Mexican drug cartels. There's a major drug trafficking route that goes from Mexico to northeastern United States. Most people don't know that illegal drugs bought in Massachusetts today are very likely to contain fentanyl. 94% of opioid overdose deaths in Massachusetts involve fentanyl. The cities of Lawrence and Lowell are centers of the opioid trade for New England. There are facilities that process street drugs within an hour of Millis. In 2016, the New England Drug Enforcement Agency confiscated fentanyl-laced heroin that was being produced in a mill in Lawrence and fentanyl-laced cocaine being produced in Methuen. All 6 New England states are ranked in the top 15 with the highest fentanyl-related death rate, New Hampshire being ranked number 1 and Massachusetts being ranked number 3. The only way you can detect whether or not your drugs have been laced with fentanyl is with fentanyl test strips, but they are not legal in every state. Right now, fentanyl test strips are considered drug paraphernalia, which makes it illegal to distribute them. A police officer in Framingham, Massachusetts, was inspired by the story of Becca Schmill. He is trying to change that. Becca was dealing with the traumas of sexual assault and cyberbullying. She unknowingly bought drugs laced with fentanyl, and she passed away in September 2020 at the age of 18. Daniel Puerta Johnson told his dad he was going out to walk the dog. While out, his dad suspects he collected a fake fentanyl-laced oxycodone from a dealer Daniel met on Snapchat. He was 16 when he died. Unfortunately, stories like these are told every day. If you are purchasing medications outside of a pharmacy, like on social media or through a friend, always be wary that what you are buying could potentially contain fentanyl. You may be told that what you are buying is safe, but there is no way of knowing for sure. Recognizing the signs of an opioid overdose can save a life. Some things to look out for include small, pinpoint pupils, falling asleep or losing consciousness, slow, weak, or no breathing, choking or gurgling sounds, limp body, cold and or clammy skin, and discolored skin, especially in the lips and nails. Naloxone, commonly known as Narcan, is a nasal spray that can rapidly reverse an opioid overdose. Knowing where to get and how to use Narcan is essential for emergency situations.
911, what's your emergency?